One very hotly debated topic that was always on the 350Z forums back when I actually looked at them was whether or not it was worth it to get an aftermarket hood because the factory hood was already made out of aluminum. For me, an aftermarket hood was never an option because A, most of them were just for looks, and B, they're always stupid expensive, especially considering, yes, we are already starting with an aluminum hood. So my idea, which I don't think I've seen too many other people do this, but some people have, of course, is gut their hood and cut out some of the reinforcement underneath to lighten what is already a very, very light hood. Now, of course, from the top, and I've already discussed this in a couple other videos, I have the venting. So I have the vents on the front that are for the radiator, and I have the ones on the back that is for any retained heat and air pressure in the engine bay to escape and try to get pulled out before you get the high pressure zone in front of the windshield. And as you probably noticed, my hood's on the ground because I do have a lift-off hood. So my hood is held down by the 4 pins, and I still have the factory latch down in the middle, but I do not have any hinges. Removing all that actually removed a ton of weight, both from the car with the brackets and from the hood from the location that those originally mounted. So this hood weighs about 4 pounds less than the factory hood, and if I remember correctly, there wasn't a single aftermarket option out there that was lighter than the factory hood other than maybe a dry carbon fiber piece. And as some of you guys might know, I plan on replacing the entire front end with one single piece of fiberglass for front fenders, front fascia, and the hood, but that'll be another thing down the road. For now, this hood has done great. I haven't had any issues with wobble or shake or deforming or anything, and I attribute a lot of that to A, having the hood vents, so any of the pressure that would build up underneath the hood is escaping nice and easily, so I don't have to worry about building a bunch of pressure under there and causing any deformities in the hood. And number 2, the 2 little accents that go down the front of the hood and give some 3 dimension to the aluminum do add a lot of stiffness as opposed to a completely flat hood like most cars have. So the 350Z hood is actually a prime example of a perfect hood to gut because it is actually very, very stiff across that center section. So here's the underside of my hood. As you can see, and as you can probably compare to your factory hood, there is a lot of structure in here. There was all this structure here. There was a bunch of different ribs that went across the middle. So I have removed a bunch of material from the underside of his hood. Now, obviously, I still have the really strong pinch weld all the way around. I still have some structure on the side here and some structure retained across the back. The reason I retained this is originally when I still had the factory cowl cover and all of those little areas covering up like your brake fluid and things like that. There was a rubber strip that went across here to seal the back of the hood. When I went through and removed that, I just forgot about this and it's just lived there the whole time. And it's really only probably a pound, so it wasn't worth it for me to get the cutoff wheel to try to remove that. Down here is the area where I moved the factory hinges. There was a lot of weight right here in these corners to support that while the hood was up. And they're removing the weight across the front. I just retained the factory latch because A, it's going to be a lock and no one's going to be able to figure out how to get my latch undone because mine's a little trick and custom and weird. And then of course you have the 4 arrow latches across the corners that help hold it down. But like I said, I've never had any issues with it. It still works perfectly and it weighs a lot less. And it's so light and easy for me to pick up. I can just casually pick it up to access my engine. I have to do that every single time and it's not even a little bit of an issue. So it's a good way to save weight for free. You just modify your hood, cut some weight out, and you're gonna end up with a hood that's gonna be lighter than pretty much anything you can do for this car short of doing a dry carbon fiber hood, which is gonna cost a ton of money. So while it is not the prettiest underside of a hood you're ever gonna see, it covers everything up, it keeps the air out, it lets air out where it needs to, and it's extremely light. And all of this was free. All you need is some sort of cutoff wheel to get it done. I will forewarn you, wear earplugs and ear muffs if you have them because cutting this aluminum is extremely loud. It really acts as an amplifier for the sound and just makes a horrible noise when you're cutting it. It's much louder than the thicker aluminum or thicker steel which you might be used to cutting. But for an afternoon worth of work, I'm extremely happy with how it turned out. It's done really well for me. I haven't had a single issue with it and I can recommend this without hesitation. So if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next week.